Welcome to the Illuminate Your Essence podcast, where we cut through the distractions, programs, and stories that have created chaos in your life and discover the truth, bliss, and joy that exists beyond the external clutter and resides within. Welcome to the Illuminate Your Essence podcast. This is Wendy Bunnell. Today we get to talk about money. A never-ending flow of money. Doesn't that sound great? We want it. Most of us want more, and many of us feel like there's never enough. It always seems like the harder we try to get it, the more it flows away from us. And so today I want to help you get to a starting place where money flows to you instead of you chasing the ever-elusive source of money. And it took me years to discover how to have a beautiful dance with money. One where I honor and respect its ability to add value to my life, but I also understand that it will never be the source of happiness for which I'm trying to seek. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love traveling. It is one of my core love languages. I love to drive cars that feel like you're riding on air and you aren't in the mechanic shop once a month. I like bougie cars. I live in a sanctuary. I literally feel like I live in a sanctuary, a home that overlooks Red Rocks, my favorite state park. I find absolute peace here. But I also have surrendered to the fact that I am truly the most abundant when I can find joy in what is and not searching and chasing. That leads to frustration, overwhelm, and blocks the receiving of money. So would you like to know the secret of a never-ending flow of money? Okay, I would love nothing more to teach you something that I've fallen in love with. And I know that this can change everything for you. But I'm going to start off with a story. About a decade ago, I'd been working at a very stable nonprofit job for about 13 years. You know, the biweekly paychecks, the nice benefits, when I decided to take the plunge and start my own business, sharing something I really absolutely still love and adore, which is essential oils. I immediately gravitated to these amazing compounds that assisted me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so I naturally shared them from my heart, which led to me growing a great business very, very quickly. So eventually became very evident that this was going to replace my income. In my upcoming book, Truth and Dare, Daring to Live Your Truth in a Fake World, I actually go into this in a lot of detail. But let's just make this more of a short story for this podcast and just suffice it to say that I was moving and expanding bigger than what my normal everyday job was allowing me to expand. So I moved towards this, and it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of me looking at myself and saying, do I choose me, and do I choose stepping into this new realm with not a safety net in place? So I did it. Cashed out my 401k. And that way I would have plenty of money. I was making a good source of income by sharing these oils. I was traveling around the country and I was teaching classes. It was amazing. It was my dream life. 4 months into this, I'm in Oklahoma City. I just finished up an entire day of back-to-back classes and just having massive success. I'm standing out by the pool and I get a phone call from my husband. And over the phone, I hear the words, "Wendy, I got fired today." And my heart dropped. I went, "What are you talking about? You have the most stable position in the whole world. You're a police officer for a small town police station. How in the world would you get fired? You have 2 life-saving awards. You have all of these accolades. How did you get fired?" Well, the bottom line is he did. In that moment, I could have leaned into love, and that could have been like this fire to just go to the next level. But I laid in my hotel room that night and fear covered me like this dark blanket of heaviness. And I recall feeling like I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe because I recognized that I had all the responsibility on my shoulders now. The way that it happened, he didn't even get severance. He didn't get unemployment. It was all down to this girl now. And I wasn't ready emotionally, mentally, spiritually for this. And the next day, I show up to my classes. I had more classes, but this time I'm now in an energy of desperation. I had to sell those essential oils in order to make money, to pay my bills, to pay my mortgage. And it drove people and repelled people like I've never seen. Not one bottle of oil did I sell, not one package, nothing. Nobody wanted to join me in my business. Do you blame them? I mean, here I was going think about that boy that liked you or girl that liked you in high school and junior high that just was so desperate to get your attention and they followed you around like a little puppy dog and it just irritated you. That was the energy I was putting out in my business. And my once thriving business tanked. It went downhill so fast. That was a really, really challenging segment of my life. It was so dark and so hard and so challenging. My husband went through an incredible emotional place where he was in getting fired from his job. Here I was trying to make a living from something I loved, and it was no longer a love. It was a chore. It was a duty. It was something I had to do. And in that experience, I recognized that the energy of what I was putting out made all the difference. And I'm so grateful for that experience because it helped me to understand and identify the blinders that were keeping me from really getting to the next level. What's beautiful about this story, it led me to other entrepreneurial pursuits, including my real estate business. And I'm ever so grateful for real estate because it opened me up to understanding abundance, understanding the flow of money, and allowing it to literally flow to me instead of me chasing it, and allowed me to learn how to surrender to what is and to follow my heart, but then to just allow that money to be attracted to like energy. So I want to teach you the basics. I want to teach you how to have that never-ending flow of money. I want to start with the basics. This is as basic as it gets. Money is simply energy. Money is not the paper that you see. In fact, let's be honest, most of us don't have paper in our wallets anymore anyways. Money is literally numbers in a computer screen, numbers in our savings and checking accounts. Money is simply energy. And if we go with physics, like energy attracts like energy. Can you see from my story that the moment I leaned into fear and scarcity, everything fell apart? When I leaned into love and I leaned into abundance, I was able to create whatever I wanted. And most people are in scarcity. Most people think they have to do more to get more, save more to get the compound interest to work in their behalf. And honestly, that is a beautiful thing that you can do once you start learning abundance. But at the beginning, it is actually better for you to do less in order to have more. You're probably thinking, what? Do less in order to have more? How is that even possible? It is because that is how money and energy works. I want you to just stay in that place right now. I know if you are listening to this and you stay up at night trying to balance your checkbook, trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills tomorrow, how you're going to pay your bills next week, I can tell you that worry and fear is going to drive you insane and drive the money right out of your life. So how do you do it when you're in that place? How do you do it when you're seeing the negative in your bank account instead of the positive? Well, you get to a place of literally looking at what you do have and learning to be in a place of abundance no matter where you're at. No matter where you're at. If you have nothing, if you are seriously sitting there and going, I am looking at my bank account and I am short $500 to even pay my rent. What I would invite you to do is start to look at what you do have. When you eat that meal, Be so incredibly grateful that you are eating that meal. Feel the texture, smell the smells. Be absolutely into a sensual experience when you eat that meal, knowing that you are so grateful and that you have a meal. You are able to pay for that meal. Thank that meal. Thank the money that gave you that meal. If you go to get a coffee at the coffee shop, know that you were able to purchase that coffee. You were able to hold that coffee, smell the aroma, taste the beautiful, rich flavors that are in store for you. And then what I want you to do is taste every single drop of that. When you make that payment on your car, your house, instead of looking at what your bank balance is afterwards, I encourage you to have this incredible feeling of abundance and love that you have the means to pay that. You have the means to pay your taxes. You have your means to pay your registration. Be so grateful, and that will lean you into the abundant mentality, and you will start to see things flow easier. All of a sudden, you'll start to see that you get a new client if you are an entrepreneur or a salesperson, or perhaps you'll have an opportunity to get a raise because of the attitude that you're bringing into your place of employment. There are so many things, or you'll just get this random check in the mail. It is so much fun to watch. I even watched this just in the last 6 months. I earned an award last year of being the number one small team in the whole state of Utah for my real estate career. And yet, when I chose to go into this full time and literally change the trajectory of my life from having real estate as my number one place of business and employment and looking towards doing this and serving and creating an impact on the world, making a difference, there was a part of me that said, I have no idea how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to create abundance in my life. And there was a time frame where I did succumb to a little bit of fear, and there was a pause in my bank account. The moment that I started recognizing that I have everything I need in order to survive and thrive, I started to have things just literally fall into my lap. Abundance like I've never had before, even more than I had before I made the plunge into this particular business endeavor. And so having is where you're going to start shifting from scarcity into abundance, which you can also say gratitude. Gratitude, but it's literally just seeing what you already have and sitting with that and being incredibly grateful and present every time you use money. Instead of looking at, I'm giving this and I'm having less. I'm giving this and I'm so grateful I have this in order to get that. When you put gas in your car, you're so incredibly grateful that you have the means to put gas in your car instead of looking at the rising prices of gas. When you go into the grocery store, you're so incredibly grateful that you have a cart full of groceries. And yes, the groceries are costing more than they were last year, but you have the means to be able to feed your family and feed yourself. And you are so grateful for that. That is where we start shifting the energy into abundance, which attracts more abundance into your life. And you will start to see things shift into your world. Okay. I want to tell you a little bit about another story that I had last year. Last year, in the midst of my number one year, I did get into some really, really driven energy where I had too many clients. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that a fun thing to experience? I had too many clients. I didn't have the systems in place, and I didn't have the support at that point for me to have that many clients, and I was exhausted. I was laying in my bathtub and just crying out to God saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't work this many hours. I'm so tired. And I heard this voice say, then stop, don't do it. And I thought, what are you talking about? Don't stop, don't do it. I have all these clients that are relying on me. I can't just stop. And the question came into my mind again, then stop. And then all of a sudden I started seeing these people from Europe that take like 2 months off from their business every year, and they go travel and they enjoy and they connect and they love. And I thought, okay, well, how do these Europeans do it? Because us Americans won't take the pause in our life. And I breathed in and I said, if I took this opportunity and I took this dare that you're giving me, what would that look like? How is that possible? And I asked the question over and over, and all of a sudden I started to see some pieces fall into my head. There was a newer agent in my area that had such a fantastic personality, that wanted more business, that was looking to expand her real estate business in the area that I live. And I decided I would contact her and start to explore what this would look like for me to take the entire month of July off. And as I sat with her, it unfolded. She was excited. I was excited. She had the ability to have more. I had the ability to take an entire month off, which I had never done in my entire life. And during the month of July last year, I enjoyed 3 beautiful trips. I went to Oregon with my family and we explored country I'd never been to before. I literally turned my phone off. I can't tell you that I've ever done that before. And as an entrepreneur, that phone will go off all day long if you let it. And you can work 12, 14, 16 hours if you want. Then the next stop was going to my beautiful niece's wedding in Hawaii with my family. I unplugged. I enjoyed. I connected. I brought my daughter with me, my adult daughter, and we had so much fun playing in the water and scuba diving and climbing mountains and connecting with family and celebrating a wedding. And then at the end of the month, I went with a big youth group to a river rafting trip. I had the most amazing month. And you want to know the best part? It was my highest grossing month of the entire year. Isn't that funny? I got out of my scarcity of time, scarcity of energy, and I really focused on what I could do in order to increase abundance in those areas. And it also increased the abundance of money in my life. It works. I'm telling you right now, it works. Start with that this month. I have lots of other money information, and I would love to share with you this idea of having a never-ending flow of money. But let's start with this. I'm going to go with your money stories next time. We're going to talk about the things and the stories and the beliefs and the programs that keep you out of abundance. But for right now, I ask you, we're coming up to November, which is a month of gratitude, the month of having. Start looking at what you have and stop looking at what you're going to be sacrificing every single time you put money out there. Be so abundant in your spending, abundant in every purchase and every expenditure that you have. And I want you to tell me what this does for your life and your money flow. And with that being said, thank you so much for spending time with me this week again. I can't wait to have the deep dive. I can't wait to further the discussion and the dialogue. And in the meantime, I do have a special announcement. This week, during the week of October 22nd through November 10th, so there's actually a couple of weeks there, I am offering a special promotion and a pre-sale of my book, Truth and Dare, Daring to Live Your Truth in a Fake World. You get the book and the program that accompanies it for $33, which is half off what it's going to be in the future. I would love to give this to you. I would love to offer it and allow you to discover deep truths about yourself, to be able to have deep peace, deep clarity, and massive abundance in your life. I share it all. I share all the stories. I share all the dialogue, and I share all the secrets that I have up until this point, and an unfolding of how easy it is to stay in your truth and have more joy, more peace, more love, and more connection. Connection to yourself, connection to others, connection to source. I want this for you. I want this for you. So you'll see in the show notes that there is a link to the page that gives you an overview of this incredible opportunity for you. You won't get these pieces until November 11th. So I am going to also offer you freebies and free training and free knowledge that I am not going to share with anybody else. It's only the individuals that take the chance and the opportunity to buy my book before it's offered on 11/11/22. I hope that you'll come with me and accompany me on this amazing journey to self-discovery and truth. And with that being said, namaste, sat nam. Have an incredible day, my friend. Thank you for listening. I invite you to continue the dialogue, the discovery, and the deep dive on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also on my website. Feel free to download your free copy of the 5 steps to discovering your inner voice and begin your journey of discovering the truth within today.